2 years ago, NAR commissioned the Danger Report, which identified the most important issues that the industry needs to focus on. And the number one danger impacting agents was masses of marginal agents destroying the reputation of the Realtor brand. Next question comes from Joanne Doctor. She has nearly 5,000 agents across 65 offices. And she asks, what will we do to raise the bar to become a Realtor? How will we ensure that our profession becomes more highly regarded and that members are viewed as trusted advisors?
I love Joan's question. And if you saw my presentation today, you saw I tackled this one front and center. You saw Elizabeth Mendenhall tackle this front and center. I will tell you, over the many years I've been at NAR, I cannot tell you the number of presidential advisory groups and committees and all the discussions that have happened about professionalism in our industry. And candidly, I will tell you, I'm just damn tired of talking about it. We got to do something about it, because while it's one thing to say we worry about how we're perceived in professionalism with consumers, equally as important, if not maybe even bigger, are member-to-member concerns about professionalism. So we've got to really tackle this head on. And so I firmly believe that we can't treat this like the third rail, where, oh my God, if we put some limit or requirement that's even stronger and more stringent, that if we raise that bar, or we even go so far as saying, you don't qualify anymore to call yourself a realtor. Maybe you're a realtor apprentice, or maybe you're something else, or maybe you're not in it anymore. So we have to do that.
How does that manifest? Is that production standards, years in the business? Is it consumer satisfaction, time mentoring under a successful agent? What does that look like?
I think it could be all the above or parts of all the above. We need to help members tell us this as well, and not sit there and always try to cater, as I say it, and many of us do, to the lowest common denominator. We've got to sit there and say, who's serious about this business and wants to be in this as a profession? So that bar might be, this segment meets this requirement. Now, is that based on sales? Well, you'd argue, well, what about people that are part of teams that are very successful? There's a lot of complexity to this, and if it was an easy answer, but we have to tackle it.
So how do you reconcile that with NAR's revenue model, right? Individual agent dues, where high numbers means high revenue for the organization, while simultaneously raising the bar to protect the Realtor brand?
That's a very easy question. NAR structure is built on scale. We can scale up, we can scale down. So if this organization suddenly became 500,000, then we'll scale appropriately. So I had someone in this industry many years ago say to me, and it really hit home. It's like organized schizophrenia. And I'll tell you what happened to me when I was in the MLS business. So I was in a meeting, this is back in my MLS days 20 some years ago, and in the morning I was in the MLS portion because I was with an MLS vendor, PRC. And I remember they were talking as the MLS committee, and they said, you know, the problem is we got too many people involved in the transaction. We need to make the pie smaller so that those that really care about the industry and really care about the profession, there's more money in it for them because it's truly their profession. And everybody's like, yeah, we got to make it more stringent and tough. Then there was a lunch break. And then in the afternoon, the board of directors for the board met, which is 90% of the same people that were on the other one. And the first question was, how do we raise membership? How do we get more people in the business? And you're scratching your head like, now hold it. One meeting 3 hours ago, you were talking, the same people were talking about the importance of making the pie fairer for all, so that there's more money in it for those that are practitioners. And then the afternoon discussion with the board perspective was bring in more members because of the dues revenue. That's got to be reconciled immediately, because this industry cannot rest on the laurels of how many dues-paying members it has as its first priority. It does mean a lot when you go to Washington and say we have 1 million plus members. It does mean a lot when we're dealing with our partnerships to say we have 1 million potential customers. But it's not worth it if it brings the profession down. And so one of the other ideas that I didn't get a chance to mention is to build and look at investigating a homeowners coalition membership organization to formally get homeowners with us, not for the purposes of getting more dues, but to say we have an army of a lot more people than just 1 million members. So if that number from NAR and our local and state boards drops, but if we turn around and say we've got 5 million consumers with us, then we'll wield just as much power and maybe even more influence on Capitol Hill than we ever had before.
But to be sure, you would be willing to drastically reduce membership if it resulted in raising the bar for realtors.
Well, I wouldn't put it just on myself on this. Our leadership needs to be willing to do it. But I addressed this today. I said, and I challenged the entire audience, as did Elizabeth Mendenhall. Because in our room today were the leaders of state and local associations who really depend on what their membership is. And we addressed that front and center as one of our top priorities that we've got to get our arms around. And I firmly believe that we got to quit talking about it and do something about it. Our members are waiting for that to happen. The ones that care about this and make this their primary profession want NAR to make a difference there.